Okay, so a lot of what we're going to cover tonight, I just want to bring everybody up to speed on a few things, and at the same time, bring all of you who are committed to this project into a situation where you can really ask some questions, because we are in the midst of putting together, the other leaders and I are putting together the training, like the whole training process for people that are brand new to the Aslan project. So I really wanted to have this meeting tonight to get some feedback from all of you about what you would most like to see in that training. But I also want to make sure that everybody, since Lorraine did a great job on Monday night bringing everybody up to speed, but sometimes I realize like a person can miss one meeting, and if you also miss the recording, sometimes you're like, wait a minute, what happened? Why am I lost? So I want to give a quick answer to a few questions. One thing that keeps coming up and is outside of my realm of being able to finish it, but it's being worked on, is like a chart that basically shows the total organizational structure and like the relationship between the different businesses. So that's something that Alan Jenkins is working on for me right now. And, there's kind of like a subset because EMH, EM Global, TMN, they all have their own relationship to each other. And that's a little bit separate from the structure of Asland because we have some things that are outside of that. So, for example, where it gets a little hairy in just discussing and helping everybody understand, when it comes to centric precious metals, that we're launching with our 1 gram gold cards, that has nothing to do with EMH, EM Global, TMN. They don't even really have any, like, I don't even know that they know we're doing that. So I want you to be just to be aware that sometimes you may need to come to us so that you know where to ask a question. And that's one thing that in the training materials, we want to be really clear with people on how the relationship works. So basically, when in doubt, bring it here within our Phoenix Rising group and to your direct sponsor first, rather than going like outside to support or just make sure that it's going the right place. That's all I'm saying. We want to make sure that we're all taking things in the right direction. So when it comes to centric precious metals, for example, right now we're in the finalizing process on exactly what the prices will be. I saw today the pending finalization for what the compensation looks like. Wait, what compensation for affiliates who are marketing those 1 gram cards? One thing that I always wanted to see in other projects and never did was that as people buy more cards, there's a price break. So like for 1 to 24 cards, it's a little bit higher price. When people buy 24 to like 49, it's a lower price. And when they buy 50 or more 1 gram cards, the price is the lowest. And I think you'll find that the prices are very comparable to other US marketers of fine 1 gram gold. So I just wanted to tell you where that is at right now. And it will be shipped as each kilo is ordered. So what that means is the more we sell, the faster we'll see shipping. And once we're in a position to where we're routinely selling more than a kilo at a time, then that shipping should be fairly quick. So that's just the short-term solution to that. And I'll just keep you up to date on what that whole project looks like. But basically, it looks to me like what you're going to have as affiliates is you will get an account, kind of like a gold savings account. And each time you sell a gram, about $2 in compensation will go into that account. And each time you're up to a gram of gold, then you can order your gram of gold with this gold savings account as it builds up. So I think that's a great way of doing it, because There won't be any expiration on your, it'll sit there until you accumulate a gram. And I love the idea that when we market gold and people are buying gold, we get paid in gold, because then it shows our own belief in small denomination gold. So I love that aspect. That, I mean, think about it. We have within this whole ecosystem, we can get paid in gold, we can get paid in crypto with our Bitcoin, and we can get paid in dollars um, with our sales in EMH and EM Global. So I think that shows our commitment to diversity as an ecosystem, and it shows that you as business partners get to experience that same diversity because you're getting paid in 3 different assets. So I think that's great, because it shows that we have a realistic understanding that most of us are still paying our bills in dollars. So your weekly pay through EMH, EM Global is going to come to you in dollars. When you market TMN, that's going to be in crypto, which is your major appreciating asset. And then with your gold sales, you get paid in gold, which is going to hedge you against inflation and a declining US dollar. So I love that. I think that's a great place for us to start, to have it in all 3 ways. So here's what I would love to have all of you do, and what we'll do right at the end of the call tonight. Each thing we talk about, I'd love for you to make note of what you think your top question is. So when it comes to centric precious metals, for example, that we just talked about, the 1 gram gold, what's your top question around that? So at the end of the call, I'm going to come back and I'm going to say, what do you most want to know about centric precious metals? What do you most want to understand better about EMH, EM Global? What can I most help you understand about TMN? So just keep that in mind as I'm bringing you up to speed on everything, so that at the end of the call, I would love to leave here with a really good list of clarification questions, so that we can come out with a really strong presentation and strong training that answers the questions that all of you have. So within EMH and EM Global, those are the 2 I'm going to talk about next. So EM Global is the precious metals. EMH is the technology rare earth metals. For the most part, I'm going to talk about them as one single entity, just because the process is similar. If you want to market those, you sign a contract with EMH, EM Global. We, through Aslande, we are the North American counterpart of EMH and EM Global. So that's why you get to sign up to be business partners with them, is through Aslande. Okay, so we are not those companies, but we're the conduit, we're the gate for North Americans to be business partners of EMH and EM Global. Doesn't cost you anything. It is literally just the chance for you to build that business starting out at level 1. But as all of you know, until July 15th, you have the opportunity for half as much as it normally takes. Like this, usually, like what happens with their sales agents, sometimes it takes a long time for them to build up and move from level 1 to level 2 to level 3 and so on and so forth. But as you move up their levels in compensation, you never slide back, right? You move up and then you stay there. And maybe you don't have enough sales to move up the next level. You get 6 months at a time. We keep track of the sales volume over 6 months. And let's say you don't make it, you're at level 2 and you don't quite make it to level 3. Well, you just start counting your sales again. You never slide back to level 1. You stay at level 2 no matter what. So yeah, like I said, I love it too, Vicki. Like I think of like the first time I made, like, we've all made double diamond something, gold director elite this, whatever it happens to be, whatever business you came from. How many of you reached that top pinnacle level and stayed there month after month after month? Or did you right away have to turn, it was like the 31st happens, party time. The first happens, you wake up and you're like back at ground zero, all like it's like a dream, and you have to just start over building the whole same thing again. And here, each time you move up the level, also understand that your teammates help you with that volume. So the first level is the hardest. The first, and normally it takes you 200 units to go from level 1 to level 2. But if you get busy right now by July 15th and get this done, it only takes you 100 units instead of 200 units. So if you want more specifics about how those units are figured, that all was on the Monday night call, and that's recorded. There's a specific recording that I did that's only about 10 minutes long, I think, around the incentive. So be sure to check that out. Come on Monday night and ask any questions. We can take questions at the end of the call about that too. But that's why I'm so bent on getting some good training out to everyone, because I don't want you to miss that chance to get from level 1 to level 2 with half the requirement, because that will not happen again. Your brand new affiliates will always get that opportunity in their first month. But that to me is the biggest part of the incentive. There are some other great things. You get an Aslande specific email address and recognition on the website, so that if somebody goes looking to see who you are and they go to Aslande's site, it's going to show you as a business partner. You get a pin and some stationery and some other great things, but mostly this is about me wanting to see all of you get to where you are not only getting a 50% pay raise for half the work, but in addition, gets you paid and it gets you earning a differential on anyone you bring in the future. So that's where we're at with EMH, EM Global. My plan this week is to really get in there. I know there are some specific questions that people have around, like, well, how much are we paying for the metals? How much? And the tricky part about that always will be is that, of course, in metals, the prices are constantly fluctuating. So what I'm working on for you is some documentation around who determines that pricing, how often does it fluctuate, what's the governing body that determines that, what percentage over spot, if there's such a thing, like how is that all determined? So that's the document in the frequently asked questions right now that I'm working on, so that everybody feels confident in marketing that, so that we can answer those questions. And the only reason we just don't have them is that a few things, I think those are probably written in German somewhere, but we need to get a couple clarifications in English to make sure that we're getting that exactly 100% correct. Because I don't know about you, but the one thing that I want going forward is to always make sure that we are confidently marketing things 100% as they are. I mean, it's one thing to put, we can all highlight the positive things about our business and about what we have to offer, and I'm all for that. But I want to make sure at the same time that we're highlighting the positives, not creating them. Let's make sure we're just highlighting what we actually know to be 100% correct. Then within, let's talk about TMN, the pre-sale. I hope most of you noticed in the Telegram group today, there was an official announcement that the pre-sale with the 10% bonus tokens, that ends this Friday. So if you have anybody that's been holding on, if you have somebody that hasn't done their pre-sale, now is the final chance. And then after Friday, people will see within a week in their back office, the 10% bonus will be paid out to everyone. So people have been earning the 10% bonus all along retroactively, and they'll see that paid out. It just says the week following, so I'm not sure exactly what day that will be. So let's just set people's expectation that it will take the whole week. I'm going to say by the following Friday, we should see that in place. And then the reason that that's ending before the official publication of the white paper is simply that there are some legal considerations and there are some enhancements that need to be made in the back office, technically speaking, to make sure that we are full on prepared for the influx of the crypto community in creating those accounts, in buying during the ICO, in all of those things that the company that we're working with, this Amazix, they have some real specific requirements around how they want those things set up. And it just became apparent that the pre-sale needs to be finished so that everything is totally lined up for the ICO that's that will commence after that. So that kind of takes us to, let's talk about the acceleration performance platform. APP is also another thing that is directly part of Aslande. Okay. So you can't really say to Sadat at TMN, hey, I want to just send it over to the APP platform. He wouldn't even know what you were talking about. Okay. So TMN's platform will probably be back at some point in the future. So, and we may actively market that the same way, but they have some changes they need to make to that platform to have it functioning better. And our solution in the meantime through Aslande was that we tested out this other platform for 2 months. And, initially it was just something we wanted to offer in addition to TMN's pool because that one was a US dollar pool. And going into it, we originally thought we were going to have a Bitcoin acceleration platform, or a way to increase Bitcoin. So that's part of the reason we started looking for another way to do that as well. So I don't see any conflict because the TMN's pool system is based on US dollars. This is based on Bitcoin. So if you put Bitcoin in this pool, you're going to get up to 3% per month more Bitcoin. Okay, so you still have the fluctuation of Bitcoin up or down. You're just getting more Bitcoin. Okay, so I've been really pleased with the performance of that. And people now know that, like, if they've had money in the pool, in the income incentive pool through TMN, they should have an email now. Those funds are released. They need to take action. They need to say either they want to move it into TMN or they want to have those funds released into their back office. It shows up as US dollars. It really functions as USDT or Tether. So if you're going to remove that out of that wallet, it needs to go into a Tether wallet. And I have not read all the instructions, but Sadat sent out some pretty clear instructions today. But one thing I want to talk to all of you about tonight is I have another alternative for you, because I know that we have some people that, why do we have some people in the pool? Because they aren't experienced traders. They're not somebody who's set up to quickly move. They put it in Bitcoin and now they're going to get it out and it's in Tether. And then what do they do if they want to go into the APP, the accelerated platform? So I do have a way. If people want the wallet address, they can send the Tether, and then I will walk through that with them, either myself or Jim, and we will help people get set up directly in the APP. I don't necessarily want to do that on an ongoing basis because I think going forward, people will be able to get into Bitcoin and move into that platform, and we're looking for other solutions for an easy on-ramp into that platform. But right now, to prevent a lot of confusion for people and to help, what I'm trying to avoid is putting people that don't have any experience trading. Now they're moving Tether off to a totally new platform. Then they on their own are going to have to figure out how to trade Tether into Bitcoin. And then they have to figure out how to send Bitcoin to the APP platform. That's a lot of steps. And it's also fees all along the way. So if you have somebody that applies to, I want you to reach out through your leader. So if you have somebody that sponsored you, go to your sponsor and say, hey, I want to set something up with Jim and Shelly so that my affiliate can send their TMN, what's in their TMN back office, that tether directly to the APP platform. So I have a tether wallet there where I can convert that Bitcoin for them and set up, and we can do that with them. So again, not something we intend to do on a long-term basis, but for anyone that was in the income incentive pool, um, obviously they have to trust us enough to help them with that process. And if they don't, I'm not in the business of convincing anybody. If they want to do it on their own, please do not encourage them to come our direction. This is simply 100%. We want to support the people we've already been working with and that we have an established relationship with. And this is just our easy button. This is our quick solution so that we keep people from having to do 3 or 4 transactions when they can just do one. And we can get on a Zoom and walk them through exactly how to do that. So, because that's what we told people, right? These platforms were meant for people who weren't in the business of learning how to be actively trading, but wanted to have their money go to work for them. So that's why, we're doing that, and we will utilize probably the work it out hours for that, and private breakout rooms, and so on and so forth. But I will make that Tether wallet address available to all of my leaders so that your leader will probably have access to that Tether address, and we can start the ball rolling with anybody that wants that solution. Okay. But no arm twisting. It's just meant to be a solution for everyone. Let's see. I am very pleased to admit that to announce too that within TMN, Sadat Demir finally has full access and has been working through outstanding issues and has been getting most of those, especially TMN coin related issues. Those are pretty much, I think I have 1 or 2 that I know about. So if you still have outstanding issues, make sure you let me know about that. I know that there are still issues around placement. Okay, so don't come to me yet with placement things, but around token or coin issues, that sort of thing. We're in the wrap up phases. So there still are some, but most of those have been solved unless there's something I don't know about. And let's see. And then also, I don't know if she's still on here. Jan might have had to get off, but Jan is working with Rebecca Jenkins. So Rebecca and Faradun Guven are planning a trip to the United States for most of the month of August. And if you are a team that is looking to have a local event, if you think your market allows for it, Jim and I are also planning to travel alongside them. And we are ready to go start, really trying to get some good team traction in little pockets around the US this time. You Canadians just won't let us in for some reason. So stuck in the US for now, but we would definitely like to talk individually with anybody who is ready to have, it doesn't have to be a big thing. This time it is really all about getting a solid core group together, because then at the end of August, Jan is doing an amazing VIP event for TMN Global. This will primarily be around the TMN project, and it will get us ready for a big launch. We're going to celebrate and have VIP people from the pre-sale. There will also be some recognition incentives. So there is some costs associated with coming to this VIP event, but there also will be the opportunity to win this event with your performance between now and then. So at least then all you would have to do is get yourself to Texas, and the rest of the event would pretty much be handled for you there if you reach some of the incentives. So more details to come, and that will be at the end of August, and we'll get all the specifics to you as soon as possible. But I think that that's going to be an amazing thing, because that's the first time publicly that we had a pre-launch event in Florida for just TMN before it was even officially a pre-sale. It was just an introduction to TMN, and that was last, what, Jim, October? And so this is going to be like the big, now we have business partners, we're raring to go, and we're going to have definitely some photographers, some video, some really good traction from that event. So it's meant to be small and kind of exclusive, and a little more upscale. So I'm really looking forward to spending, and I can't wait to go somewhere in person. I think it's just going to be amazing. So that's how we're going to all finish out the summer with a big bang. So all of that said, I'm going to take your questions, and I've got pen in hand, because one thing that we really want to do is put together and hear from all of you about how you like to train teams. I know how I like to train teams. It's not that I don't like to spend time with my teams, I really do. But what I like to have for them is a system that's duplicatable, where they can go watch some training, learn from it, and then come back to me and work with me or work with a leader. So my goal here is to create some short segmented training. Like I'm also not a fan of like the half day, the all day, the 2 hour, like nobody wants this giant long thing. I would much rather do some short 10 to 15 minute training, so that as people have jobs and lives and things that they do, they can just go watch for 10 or 15 minutes and feel like they advanced down the road and they understand a little more than they did before. So that's my goal. I'm even considering, and I haven't ever done this before in network, in this type of business, but because I have worked in virtual education, like for the university, I'm thinking about doing like an online learning platform, something like Kajabi, or some kind of a learning platform where literally people can go in and kind of check off their training and say, okay, I did this, and then it can say, get back with your sponsor when you've completed these modules or whatever. So I just think it would add a little professionalism, but I want to hear from all of you before we all pour the hours and the effort and the time into it. Will that serve you? Does that make sense to all of you? So think that over. I'm going to start at the top. I'm going to go back to talking about the Aslande companies first. So starting with Centric Precious Metals, which is the 1 gram gold cards. Everybody gets one question, so make it count. What would be your top question or comment, or what would you like to know more about around the Centric Precious Metals? Go ahead, Vicki.
Will we have the ability for something like auto exchange?
And right now I will say that yes, that's definitely in the works. We're still finalizing that, so whether or not that will be ready at the outset, I'm not sure, but you can rest assured that that's a major part of our vision for that, is that people would be able to do that. So we know for sure that there's a solution for that down the road. And so whether or not we can also provide an immediate solution, that I'll let you know about, but it's definitely on our radar. Katie, go ahead.
Piggybacking off of Vicky's question, if it is on auto exchange, will it be able to immediately be shipped to us every month, as opposed to waiting for 1 kilo being ordered?
So the 1 kilo requirement is not like per person, it's just within our community. So where we're at right now is that's kind of the most, like one of the reasons you can see that that's kind of how it happened, I think, in some of our previous business as well. When it's coming directly from Nadir. So Nadir is the company in Turkey that produces the actual physical gold. And the contract that we have with Nadir, they will do it in batches of 1 kilo. So as a community, every time we have 1 kilo, we can ship. So the way for us to get fast and immediate shipping is for us to build a large enough community or build a large enough buffer. Again, the long-term goal and vision around this would be that we could move the production. Two things. First of all, to get far enough out ahead that we've got a couple kilos in reserve and we can fulfill orders directly from the reserve gold. And then eventually to bring that production to the United States. That would definitely be our preference, and that would be our long-term goal. But the timeline for that, you guys, totally depends on how we grow it. So like if we want it, we get out there and we make it happen. So I feel like just the fact that we're coming right out and saying to people, I have even said maybe it would be fun to have a little counter on the website that shows how many grams to shipping. Like people would say, oh, we should get a little bit more. Look how close it is to being able to be shipped. Look how, I feel like that might be a good way to motivate people. So we'll talk about that. We're open to ideas around that. But here's where I'm at. If we have more frequent shipping, then we don't have the kind of competitive pricing that I think we all want to bring to a project like this. So what we do have is competitive pricing with a commission. And that's also something we've never had before, is the opportunity to sell 1 gram of gold. I mean, it was sort of a goodwill in the past. It was part of what you didn't ever get a direct commission really off those grams of gold. So the best part is that you're going to start to see that building up your own gold savings. So, and as people see that they can do that and refer and get their own gold for doing so, that I think that's going to make a difference. So it's just for people who love the 1 gram and who love the small denomination. I'm never going to say to you that that's the least expensive way to get gold. It's a good way to get small denomination in your hand, spendable gold. And I do think we're going to get to that kilo before you know it, because there are a lot of people right now that are looking for that small denomination that they can get in hand again. So, Christine.
Hi, Shelley. Your idea of the counter, I really think that is worth the time and effort, especially from our previous business experience. When people are buying the small increments, if they can go look and see, oh, we are within this amount before it gets shipped, that's reassurance, right? As well as motivation, right? We only need another X amount before they're going to ship. So I really think that's a great idea.
Okay, good. I will take that back. Thank you for that. Clint, did you have a question?
Just a comment on that. Now, when it does get shipped, of course, it's going to be shipped as a kilo to some central location, and you have to divide it up and send it out from there. So publishing, it's going to take 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever time frame is reasonable. That's what people are concerned
We'll
about.
make sure that, I don't even know, like, who knows, maybe it's on the slow boat over. I have no, this very first time, let's just set people's expectation accordingly, which is you're part of the inaugural run. We're doing this for the first time. We don't know exactly how long it will take. So I don't want to make promises we can't keep.
Yep.
So I think that's the only thing you can do right out of the gate, is just to be completely upfront with people. And then just know that, like I said, the long-term plan here, the more we can grow this business, the more we can bring up the profits, the sooner we can have that. Wouldn't it be great to just know that we are a couple kilos ahead, and we can always have, I mean, that would be my ultimate goal. You know how I feel about customer service. What I would like to have is a US company that turns around and within 24 hours is shipping these people their gold. That would be my long-term plan. So, but how we get there, you know, that's new for us too. And that's why, but I think it's important for you to know our heart in this and what our intention is. And now we're just in the throes of exactly what does that look like? How much control can we have over it? But what I always promise you is that we'll be upfront with what we can do and what we can't do. You know, like we've all been there where we've been told what we wanted to hear. So I can't always tell you what you're going to want to hear, but I will tell you like it is. So that's where we're at on that. So just in the interest of time, if we have time at the end, I'll take, but moving on to EMH and EM Global, what would be your top questions, or what do you need the most to feel like you can move forward with EMH and EM Global? So the contracts for you and for your customer are found right now on Aslande.com. Okay. And when you go to Aslande.com, you can download those. They should be fillable forms. Get creative. If it's not working for you to fill them out, I don't care. Print them, take a picture. We have a long-term plan to have an online form with our professional website that's being built. But right now we just built one. You know, it looks like a mom and pop thing because it is, but it's minimally viable, and we're in business, and you know, this is the phase where we're working out of the garage. So you can all say later, oh yeah, remember when we were like that? So so within EMH, EM Global, I'll tell you what I think we need, what I feel like I need as a salesperson is just a little bit more of a clear, well, number one, a good presentation so that your customer can see exactly what they're getting. And then a walkthrough for you with instructions that have maybe some more clarity for line by line. Like, for example, we have these contracts, but I think there's some verbiage that still is not very clear for us as Americans. And so I think what would be nice is something that says, line 2, if this is a business, fill it out like this. Line 14A, this means blah, blah, blah. So that is a place where it's been on my list of things to do. But if any of you feel motivated to like work with me and help me with that, we could create the PDF for the whole team, and somebody can ask me the clarifying questions. I can record all the answers if somebody can transpose it and put it into a decent looking thing. All this stuff is on my list. I'm just starting to feel like I have 10 kids again. I just can't quite get everything done in the day. So I'm feeling massively humbled and so willing to have you guys help me. This is our business. This is a chance for us to take a vision we've all seen for a long time and have it function the way we always wanted it to function. But what that means is we have to lock arms and kind of, you know, get our hands a little dirty together to get it done. If I could do it all myself, I would. If I could wish done all the things that I have in my mind to do, it would be a miracle. But I'm recognizing that I need all hands on deck. So operate in your strengths. If you want to help with something, please offer. I will I'm a mom. I don't say no to help. It looks like what we're going to work it out together. But that's what I see for us, is that we have some documents so that if people are brand new to the business, they have a PDF that they can print off, so that as they're walking through these contracts for themselves or for customers, they have a little cheat sheet. They feel like they can, and then I'll create a video that goes along with it for training too, like a training module and a PDF, a training module and a PDF. That to me would be the best way for people to do it. And then we'll do some training around just specifically how to approach people, what to say to people, and those can be in some training modules too. And if some of you really feel compelled to also like make videos and you want to be a part of that training, just reach out to me. This is your chance to shine. If you feel like you have some strengths that have not been previously highlighted, or that you haven't had the chance to really come out and know and to lead in the way that you feel you could do that best, please come to us, because we want to take you up on what you have to offer. I do not believe people are here by accident. So I want to make sure that you get your chance to shine. I will happily retire into the quietude and let everybody else take front and center for sure. I am so tired of the sound of my own voice. You just can't even imagine. So that's go ahead, Katie.
I've got a question concerning the metals themselves. I've heard that they're wholesale, but then I also heard that they're raw. Does that mean that they're not refined metals? And I'm referring to in both the technology and then also the rare earth. Did I hear that correctly? Or
so obviously I'm not exactly sure how refined those metals are when it comes to their utilization in technology projects. So my understanding around them, and I'll get some clarity, but basically when people are investing in those metals, it's not necessarily with the intention that they would ever possess them. You know what I'm saying? Like you can, and they're very upfront to say that if somebody wants to own these physically and have them in hand, they can do that. But up until now, primarily the way people have done this is they're purchasing, they're buying into these metals with the idea that these projects that are rolling out are going to, for example, what did we just buy? I bought 2 things in the last couple of weeks that both used neodymium magnets. Okay, they're super crazy strong. And if you are buying neodymium at today's prices, and 10 years down the line that some company wants to do something with neodymium, and then you have the opportunity to sell at those prices later on. So as far as what form that neodymium is in, I don't have the first clue. I assume it's in whatever form it needs to be in for those companies. That's who buys it. It's typically like these large technology companies that are going to use it for a wind turbine, for an electric car project, for whatever they're working on. They're buying it in the form that they want. So, but I do know it's in small. So like they do piece it out though. Like I've seen the pictures from inside, like when Alan was at the storage facility, it's definitely divvied up by who owns it. So, and I'll be, as soon as Germany is open back up, I'll definitely go to, and I'll ask a lot more questions, and I'll go inside the storage facility and come back and answer more of those questions for everybody.
what about for the gold, silver, palladium, and platinum? What are those also raw, or are they more refined?
Like the big bars, like there's
Okay, so those are not raw.
Yeah,
I just,
no, like I would say they're mostly like 1 kilo. There's some 10 kilo. It just depends on how much people own. It comes in various sizes, but I would say more like your typical. I think they have some of the 400-ounce bar, like they're the bigger bars. So,
okay. Yeah, I just have a friend from church. We were talking a couple of Sundays ago, and she was saying that she's got 50 or $100,000 that she wants to invest in gold. So I just wanted to make sure that it was not raw.
no,
And
oh no, definitely not the precious metals. Like I would say when it comes to the precious metals, it would be like what all large precious metal investors are doing. We just come from that culture that really has encouraged the small denominations because a lot of us wanted to have the ability to we wanted something transactable in the event of, global crisis or whatever. A lot of us in here like to have it in hand. We like to know that we have a tenth of a gram or a gram or whatever to be able to transact. I would say that that's why there's room for both things, because within EM Global, that's more the same kind of like precious metals investing that, the 1%ers do. So the difference is that like I had a lot of people involved with us before that typically before that had bought gold by like the kilo. Okay. And so they had enough money to do that, the 60, 70,000, whatever it was at a time to buy the whole kilo. Well, for a lot of us, that's just never been possible or the case. So what EM Global allows basically is the same thing. You're just putting your money toward that kilo or toward that amount until you own the whole thing. So that's kind of the difference. It is in that larger quantity, and then later on you're selling that larger quantity if you don't take physical delivery of it. Okay. Oh, we're running out of time. So let's quick go over questions about TMN. Any questions around the end of the pre-sale or any questions about TMN stuff? Oh, one thing I will tell you is like, we'll see this revised timeline with the advent of the IPO or the ICO, sorry. And then we'll see some, like, I don't want people to be like waiting on the debit card, waiting on stuff like that. I think there's going to be a refinement in the process. And I just also want you to know that Aslande is working on a similar solution as well. So we'll just see what comes quickest. Okay. But nobody's forgotten our solutions there, and just know that that whole structure, we're on like a rolling hill, because as soon as we think something gets worked out, the powers that be sort of change up the rules a little bit. It's like being, I don't know if any of you have been in industries like that too, where like definitely out in the oil field, it was like that. You kind of get one thing done, and then the EPA, like 10 minutes later, they change the rules and somebody changes the rules. So it's just every time you think you've got something worked out, there's sort of a new rule. And I'm seeing that that's definitely going to be true on the side of credit and debit cards alongside of crypto. It's still an emerging market. So we're just trying to stay on the front side of that emerging market. I don't want to give you guys a card that's junk. Like, let's just lay it out on the line, because there are plenty of things that are being marketed as crypto cards and they're garbage, expensive garbage. And we are just not going to put our name on something like that. It's going to be something good. It just has to be. It has to be something good that we actually want to use. Let's see. So that's TMN stuff. Any questions? Oh, so let's kind of close out with the acceleration performance platform. Any questions about that, or about if you have somebody who was in the income incentive pool and wants to move things over. Any questions around that?
I did the process already and it was pretty straightforward.
Yeah,
The
I thought
English is still but you know, you
Yeah,
can get through
that's,
it.
yeah, so I'm technically for TMN. You'll see later when they publish the whole thing. I'm like the communications advisor, but about 80% of the time I'm advising after the fact. So if we could work on the pre-communications, I think we would be doing better. But um, I don't know Sadat super well yet, but I definitely, yeah, we all know something gets a little lost sometimes in the translation. We'll keep working on it. Thank you though for the feedback. I appreciate it. Clint, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Can you go into the APP with Bitcoin right now?
Yes, yep,
Very good. Thank you.
absolutely. And it's fast, right? Mike, you did it. Beverly, like it's fast. It's been happening it's been landing within like 30 minutes. I usually get a message saying that it's dropped in. So I think that feels good to all of us, because whenever we transact and Bitcoin is out there in the stratosphere, it makes me feel a little sick until it lands. So it's been quick.
Yeah, it completes on your page. As soon as it gets there, it says completed. It's not like before.
Super. Well, yeah, it's the world's most simplistic program, but it's there. I promised minimally viable, and that's what we have. So I think minimally viable will work just fine as long as people see a 3% per month return. That should work out just fine. So yes, Beverly.
I have a question. I know a lot of people really excited about the incentive income pool because it wouldn't fluctuate.
Mm-hmm.
Will the APP fluctuate? Because that's question's going to be asked by my sister, I know.
So yes, two different kinds of pools, definitely. That's why I'm saying like eventually so right now, let's look at it this way. Like, let's look at over the last month. So for a lot of people, when they went into the income incentive pool, Bitcoin was pretty high, so it didn't take a lot of Bitcoin. And when they came out, Bitcoin has been down quite a bit. So the tether that you're getting, quite frankly, yes, you got that 2.2% per month, but you should go back and also take a check on how much Bitcoin that was, because this particular situation that we're experiencing right now, your tether is going to buy a lot more Bitcoin than it did for most of you coming in. So right now is a great time to switch over to a Bitcoin pool, because you're going to end up with a whole lot more Bitcoin. Now, if it could have easily have been the reverse, somebody could go into a pool now. And so it kind of goes both ways, right, Beverly? Like, I can see a case being made for both things. So you just have to get people in the mindset. I see it both ways. Somebody who needs access to their cash will probably like the income incentive pool. And somebody who's a Bitcoin hodler who already has a lot of Bitcoin, they aren't necessarily looking to get rid of it no matter what happens to the price, then they're going to like the acceleration platform, because they're getting more Bitcoin every single month. So what I see for the future is this really working hand in hand. And here's how. So like if I bought Bitcoin last summer for $5,500 and it went up to $55,000, I might want to shave some of that Bitcoin off, right? Because I might think, oh, it's going to drop down again. I want to preserve. Then that's the perfect time, where right now as a trader, I might have moved over into Tether. Well, I don't really have any, I don't really want to be in US dollars that much. But what I could do is take that amount in US dollars and go ahead and put it over in the income incentive pool. And then it's earning on the US dollar. Yeah, it's in Bitcoin, but I preserved the US dollar amount. And then I still have the APP platform over here where I'm increasing the actual amount of Bitcoin that I have. So we just have to be really mindful of each person and what their goal is, and then let them utilize the platform that suits them the best. They're just two, it's like when people buy two different stocks or two different, each one might be more suited to a different person. So that's what I love the most about what we're doing here, is that we have an ecosystem that allows people to literally go a la carte, to pick and choose from what best suits them and not have to feel like they don't have to participate across the board. They can totally pick or choose. They might hate crypto. They might love precious metals, hate tech metals. It doesn't really matter. We can show them the array and they can pick what they like. And so that to me is just I love freedom of choice. It is my mantra in life. So that's why we wanted to create a true diverse ecosystem where people could see what we have to offer and pick what fits the period of life they're in and what their goals are. I don't want to tell people what their financial goals should be. I just want to support them in doing what is right for them. So I hope that makes sense. All right, well, we are at 7 o'clock. I am going to stop the recording and thank all of you guys for coming. We are going to do this once a week.